Welcome back, guys. I believe this is episode 4 of the Remember Why You Started podcast. Host Kevin Higgins. I'm super excited to get on here and just kind of go over everything I said last week about the weekend. When I talked about the best investments, right, prior, it was about the Cedar Trunk Ranch ran by Devon Levesque out in Texas. It was Devon, Jimmy DeSico, who owns Super Coffee, and this man, Darren Conway, who's an unbelievable dude. He owns a bunch of peers and entrepreneur, business owner down in Jersey City. Hoboken, I apologize. In terms of the recap, like, I'm going to tell you the whole backstory of going into it. So I've been friends with Robbie Duran and Jenna Reed. Robbie owns Almost Home. His girlfriend, I've known Jenna all through high school. They close. We were very friendly. So through Jenna, I met Robbie, and then our relationship was forged. So I've been real supportive of Almost Home. I'm a big fan of Rob's. I like what he does. A lot of people, a lot of the work he does. He's very helpful, and he's been a great mentor towards me. He's taught me a lot about business, a lot about building your brand and building yourself, and especially the biggest thing is like the networking. Like we went to Texas the day before the event, and his whole thing was, I want to connect you with tons of people. So I was able to meet with like these other gym owners and these amazing entrepreneurs. And, we basically were able to spitball ideas off each other. And from that, I learned so much in like a matter of like 5-minute sit down conversation than I have ever learned in any school or book or, whatever else they teach. So that was definitely awesome. So they had a ranch. The first weekend was maybe like 10 months ago, 12 months ago. It was in the summer. But, it looked awesome. They had told me to go, and I was just like, I'm not really about it. It was like a couple thousand. So at first I was like, I don't really need to go there and learn. Like, how much am I really going to learn going there? And then this event popped around, and then they were like, I'm telling you, you have to go. It's the best networking like event that I've ever been to. Like, him being friends with Devin, all these people, like, maybe I was like, all right, well, like, obviously you're going to say that. Those are your boys. You're supporting their business just like anyone else. Just like I support you. So my girlfriend went ahead and she actually paid for half of it. Right? So she was like, hey, listen, I'm going to book this for you if you want for your birthday. And I was like, all right, you know what? Definitely. So I paid the other half of it. And at first I was like, maybe I'll get a refund. Like, maybe do I really want to go? And it was by far the best thing like I've ever went through with. I think maybe because it was like the first time I traveled alone. I didn't like know anybody, so maybe like that part of it kind of played a role of like, do I really want to go do this? Like, but then I remember like how many times you're growing up, and especially being an entrepreneur and you're trying to learn new things. Like, the only way you learn is just jump into the situation, right? Like, you have to just learn and you have to just adapt, because in the end, like, we're humans, we're meant to adapt to certain situations. It's like when you go underwater and your fingers start to get that wrinkly, right? So you get a grip. You're able to grip things. And when I heard that, it was so fascinating. Like, humans are, biologically made to be able to adapt to any situation and circumstance. So that was the mindset that I had going into this. So at first, like, I was like, let me try to gain something from here. Let me see who's speaking at it. Let me see who's going to be there, who's talking. And I did, as I wrote down in my notebook, like, these are my key goals. These are the takeaways that I want to learn. And I wrote down like note after note of important facts. And like, almost when you get there, like, you look at it and you read through it, and like, you walk into the building, and that's like your first, thought, like, okay, let's try to get this done. And basically, like, we kind of just crumbled it up, and I just threw it away, because in the end, like, I just wanted to let me just be here. Let me just not cuss. Let me just be here, be a human. Yeah, it was absolutely phenomenal. So when you first get to the Texas event, right, there's a shuttle that picks you up, and you see everybody in the lobby, and that's when you start meeting all these people. And like, you don't really know who's who yet. So it's kind of amazing how over the course of like a weekend, you get right into it, and like, you die for each other. As funny as it may sound, because right away, Devin takes us to a paintball arena, right? So right away, you have to break the ice with lighting each other up. And like, just, that alone, we're all competing against each other. You're on your same team. You're trying to strategize, a way to win whatever game it is we're playing. And, that was just awesome. And it was such a great, like, leadership quality drill. It was a great team building drill. And like, from there, we were able to break out into so many amazing conversations. He had speaker after speaker come in, the owners of Cold Plunge. And prior to this whole cold plunge like theory, I saw that it's like a fad and everyone was doing it. So in my head, like, going into it, I was like a little skeptical about it. I was like, how long is this cold plunge thing going to go? Like, is it really that cool? And going there completely changed my mind. It was so eye-opening, so amazing. We had to do this thing called 9 innings. So 1 inning is you go in a sauna, right, roughly like 220 degrees. So you get the effects that you actually want. I would sit in a sauna for 10 minutes. Now, from there, we go right to a cold plunge. We do 2 minutes. So you go sauna, cold plunge, sauna, cold plunge, right? Both of them equals 1. You do it 9 times. And a few people actually tracked from their calories and stuff, and they burn like 1,300 calories, and it's just wild. Like, it's such a crazy experience. And like, going into it, I was like, all right, well, I'm not really into cold plunge. My whole thought process was like, well, I can't be the only person here out of like 60 people to not go on the cold plunge. Like, this is going to look bad. I just did it, and I'm so happy that I did, because like, it just felt so unbelievable, to the point where I actually am going to invest in one myself. And I would love to like incorporate sauna, cold plunge, and that type of recovery into the actual gym, right? So I thought that was definitely like a cool aspect that I took from it. But not only that, just hearing from like, one man was like a neurologist, the other one was actually ran a podcast, and he was a mental health coach for the Baltimore Ravens. And you meet other gym owners and dentists and entrepreneurs and people who are trying to find their self, their brand, their path. So it's definitely cool, because a lot of times when you have these ideas and you have like these, these dreams and stuff, it's hard to talk to people about it, especially like, everyday people, your friends, your close circle. And like, a lot of times they're going to laugh, or they're not really going to understand or to see it from your perspective, because you guys may be on totally different like playing fields. Like, I have some friends who are just really aren't into like the true entrepreneurship, aren't like, a little safer. Like, it's very scary, but I say like, no risk, no story. You have to be willing to take the leap, take the chance, and have the blind faith that it's going to work out in the end. So when you're talking to people who are like so enthusiastic about that, and like they're trying to push you, like, oh, dude, I totally think you should do that. Like, this worked for me. Maybe it won't work for you. Maybe we try it this way. And when you spitball these ideas, you just feel like almost like Iron Man or like the Hulk, that like you could do anything. So like, I think like having that support system and that community was unbelievably special. And there was a speaker, Johnny Martin, that's what his name was, right? So Johnny was the coolest dude ever. Like, when I'm talking to him, normal, but before I knew he was even giving a speech or anything, he just seemed like a normal dude, like super cool, down to earth, helpful. And then like, next thing I know, Devon's like, oh, like my friend Johnny Martin, my life coach, and like he goes up and like he just completely changes, does a 180. Like, I mean, yes, he was a great guy, but like he was just so passionate. Like, he was like waiting for the moment to like get to change everybody. And it was cool, because you're sitting down to someone, he's giving you all these cool ideas, and then out of nowhere, like he's like, boom, hits you with like a fist of motivation. And he's, and he put us in these breakout rooms, and he forced us to like write qualities that we think of ourselves. And like 2 seconds you have to answer. So it's the first thought. And then he gives you like 2 minutes and says, write what you wish people thought about you. And it was crazy, because you see people like right away, like, I'm strong, I'm handsome, I'm this, I'm that. And then you write like the deeper meanings of it, and you're like, wow, like I thought people, I wish people thought of me like that. Like, and then you break out in these little groups, and with these groups you tell people like, this is my goal, this is what I wrote about myself, and this is what I want to do about it. And he really established like he forced you to establish like a real reason, a why of like, hey, this is what you want to do. This is why you want to do it. Now, this is what we have to do to do it. And I don't know. I've never been through like an experience like that. Like, I've always been like, let me figure it out myself. And, that's also another thing why I was a little skeptical about going. Like, I'm always someone like, if this guy did it, I could do it. Like, but, sometimes it's important to like, let me take a step back and look at it from a different, a different perspective. Because maybe not, sometimes I'm very stubborn. I may think that like I know everything when half the time I'm clueless. There's a lot of things in the first 2 years of business that I made a million mistakes on. Like a million mistakes, and I probably lost tons of money and tons of time. But then looking back on it, it's like, okay, those things were supposed to happen, but like maybe I could avoid the next one. If I want to take the next step to here, I have to, I want to get there quick. I want to get there correctly. So, that was a big thing for me, is just learning different avenues and different ways to grow as an individual, as a business owner. And, as most of you guys probably saw, I came home, I switched my Instagram immediately. Like, that was the first thing I did. I separated Kevin Higgins and StoneFit. Because Kevin Higgins is Kevin Higgins. Like, StoneFit is just the name, it's the business, it's something that I represent, something that I am, it's the community that I'm so proud to be a part of. But, Kevin Higgins, I also want Kevin Higgins to grow as much as StoneFit to grow, if that makes sense. And they taught me that, like, listen, like, Devon is invested in like 10 different or maybe 100 different businesses. He's building Devon Levesque, and Devon Levesque is, help build these brands. And like, that's where I want to almost put myself now. And I feel like I'm in the situation or, where I'm able to create more. I'm able to create opportunities. Like, I would love, I just got the phone with one of my friends, and I pitched him like a great investment idea. Dude, I think you should totally do this with me, and because I want to see him do well. I want to see my friends do well, and I want us all to grow together and like my inner circle, and, that's what it's all about. It's just continue to grow and find new ways to grow. So, that to me was the number one reason why this event was the best that it ever was. Like, it was the best thing I ever could have said yes to. Now, they could raise the price to $50,000, and I think I'd still pay. It was the first thing I came home, and like I was like calling my mom and dad and my girlfriend, and I'm like, I don't care if they raise this thing by like 1,000 every year. And for the next 20 years, I'll never miss. because the information that you get there, the people that you meet are like second. Like I'm still in group chats with a lot of them. Like we have our accountability group, but like, you get to hop on Zoom calls, and these people, like even Devon, he hosts a Zoom call like every week. And you go back and forth, and like it's just like spitballing ideas. And hey, you know what? Like, dude, that's not gonna work for you. Like, I've done this. Let's go this way. And that was just so cool to see and like hear from, because, like I said, when you're in, where you are now, maybe the people, your surround system, your surround team, they're not gonna put you in the situation that you want to be in. They're not gonna get you where you want to be. So I say, like, you have to surround yourself with people who are almost better than you. Like, if you don't want to be the smartest person in the room, right? You want to be like around people who are hungry for more. And hungry for more. It's funny they said that, because I was thinking about that yesterday, because I heard like a quote, and it was, what's the difference between a loser and a champion? Losers stop once they get it right. Champions stop once they can't get it wrong. Now, I went something along those lines, and it was so amazing, because like I'm learning from Jimmy DeSico, who owns Super Coffee. I saw him in the corner. I went up, approached him, pitched myself. I told him who I was, my story. He was just so open to like, absolutely helping me. We sit there and like, we started talking logistics. I started telling him my ideas, and like he was just so like, dude, you could do it. Like, I'm telling you, do it this way, this way, this way. It's awesome. You're this. Like, it was just so inspiring to see someone of that, where he built himself and what he wanted. And he was telling me all things that he was into and like ideas that they had. And I was like, dude, this is like so cool. Like, this guy is worth, probably more money than I'd say 99.9% of people ever get to. He's in like the top 0.5 category, I guess you could say. He's up there. And the fact that like he's like, how can I put my family in a better situation? How can I make it even better? What can I do? Can I do more? Like, he's just, not that he's not satisfied, because he's very satisfied. Like, that's why I'll always represent their company now. Right? I'm not an ambassador. I'm not anything like that. But I'll always buy Super Coffee because of who he is. And the best advice he said was like, businesses don't fail. What the problem is, owners quit. When he said that, I was like, wow, that's so true. This way isn't working. Let's find another way. Right? Let's find another way. If you really want to be successful, then that's what it takes. So, hearing that and going through that was just freaking awesome. I really couldn't be more grateful and thankful that I was even able to be a part of it. Like, down the road, I plan on going to a bunch more. Every one he has, I want to be at. Another great thing that I learned down there was, the app Playbook. So Playbook is like I guess it's like a brand app. They do a lot of different things. So we are actually building our StoneFit app through Playbook. So my friend Robbie and Jenna worked for Playbook for a little bit. So she was able to put me in contact with these people. And then I found out Devon actually owned Playbook, which is pretty cool. And they were kind of breaking down like the different ways that it could be set up. And just hearing it from people who are actually there, like, I want to have my app. I want to own XYZ. I want to do that. I laid my dreams on the table. And then like by piece, people are, okay, let's do this here. And let's go try this angle. This guy, this clickbait, and it's just so cool. And you're bouncing your ideas off each other, and you just feel like as they're bouncing, they're growing. And now, like, I came home, and I just feel like a totally different person. Like, almost like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be disciplined. I want to do more. I'm extremely grateful for that. And while I was down there, actually, I bought this hat. Well, actually, they gave me this hat. Then I bought the subscription to the company. The company's all day running. Right? I'm like, as you guys know, like, I'm not like a crazy advocate runner. Never was. Quick sprint, football guy, basketball guy. And like I said a while ago about the 10K, it was the 6 miles. And I remember I was like, some people were tapping out, and they were like, all right, listen, you only got to go around the facility 4 times. Jenna said it was like Homedale Park, just a lot worse. It was like tremendously worse. Like, it was just stone after stone. There was like, it was just out of control. Up and down and up and down. I'm walking, my legs are killing me. And then, like, I ended up finishing pretty well, actually. I was completely taken back, but I'm running. I just remember thinking, like, all right, well, everyone else is running, so I have to run. I can do it. And I felt like at the end of the race, I probably could have went, like, another 6, maybe 20 miles. Like, I just felt so good. And I never thought that I would. I called my girlfriend. I'm like, I just can't believe that I ran that smooth. Like, I thought it was going to be way worse. I thought the people I was running with were going to be way crazier. They were still absolutely animals, like, I remember Devon and them, they started lapping me, Jimmy lapped me, and I'm like, but I actually finished really well, believe it or not. They're just freaks of nature. And as I'm running, like, I just got caught in so many conversations, and it just made me keep going. And it made me keep going. I remember I got around once, and I got to chat with Devon's girlfriend, and she was awesome. She's a Jersey teacher, and she was just breaking down, like, little things that worked for her, and, like, in terms of she was an athlete, and then where she coaches, and that was really cool. And I got to chat with a neuroscientist, and we just started breaking down so many different things about the brain and life. And he was telling me all these crazy stories. And like, he was once like a plastic surgeon, and then something switched, and he wanted to do more with his life, and he wanted to help people out. And like, actually, one of his friends had leukemia, and it affected her brain. Like, his whole thing was he wanted to help change And, that was just unbelievable. That was like one of the coolest experiences that I've ever had. And, what he was just saying was like remarkable. And then I ran into another man. This guy was like a friggin' beast. He was an animal. He owned like two gyms in Texas, 2 gyms in Indianapolis. He was like a lawyer. He did all this crazy stuff. He's like 29 years old, maybe 20, 30. And we're running. We're talking. And dude, he was just like, dude, you could do way more. He was like, you need to do this. You need to do this. And I sit there, break down, I'm stopping, I'm showing him, my charts, my spreadsheets. I'm telling him all my ideas. He couldn't believe like the age that I am and, kind of what we did so far. And, I went, I got his handle, social media, and we started, and I just want to keep in touch with him and just spitball ideas and business off each other. And to me, the craziest thing is like I said, the people you meet these people who are, you think you are at like a certain place. And I'm telling him, actually, I look at him, I'm running. I'm like, it's so crazy. Cause like, sometimes I think like, oh, wow, what, I do a lot. Like I wake up early. I'm a 3 a.m.er, workout. I do this, I study, I program. Like I'm working 24 hours a day. Like I think I am. And then you see these people and you're like, I'm a lazy shit. Like I could do so much more with my life and what I'm doing. You look back and and I'm writing down my hours and I'm like, oh my God, I wasted time here. I could have been doing this. Instead I was doing this. And it's really cool when you see like what these people can do for themselves, their community, their families, other communities. So, I came home and I pitched like 3 different ideas, like not even like for me, business standpoint, for like, hey, what can I do to benefit this community and do this for this charity and raise money for this? Because in the end, it's just all about like making everyone around you just as good. Like, what's the point if like, I don't want to do well if no one else is doing well, right? I want to grow myself, my company, not for me, but for everyone around me. I want to be able to give my kids something, and the kids I train and my own kids, and my wife, my family, retire my parents. Like these are just dreams and goals, and like the only thing that's standing in the way is like myself. Like I have to look myself in the mirror and just continue to move, just continue to progress and learn and grow and adapt and change. That's why I'm super stoked, about kind of what I went through. I felt like it was everyone should go through it once in their life. I feel like you're going to come back different. You're going to be completely changed in the best way possible. You're going to see life through a different lens. And I can't wait for the next one. To me, it's just you got to go experience life. You got to take chance. You got to take risks. Like I said, no risk, no stories. So put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Learn to figure it out. Adapt. It's amazing how amazing we are, and the chances of being alive are. So I want to maximize my chances. I want to maximize being alive, maximize who I am, maximize my life, people I love. That's the best advice I can give, is just amplify it, live every second, breathe, appreciate who you are, where you are, why you are where you are. And that's it for Remember Why You Started.